They said it could never be done, but Adam and Juliet will attempt to build and style an entire house in just one day.
It's true, technically.
Graham explores a garden that's magnificent all year round, but
Now that it's spring, there is colour just exploding everywhere.
there can be many reasons why your garden isn't growing. But what do you do when you just don't have enough soil?
I've got a few solutions to this very problem in this small inner city garden.
To enjoy the best picnic, you want the best food.
I've got a couple of really fantastic ideas to share with you, and best of all, they're really easy.
What if I told you you could build an entire house in just one day? Would you believe me? Well, it's true, technically. I'm going to be building a whole doll's house from scratch, and it all starts with this 12mm ply. First things first, let's talk about the design. So I'm thinking mid-century, double-storey, we'll have open plan living down the bottom. Upstairs can have an ensuite, a bedroom, even a balcony. But the best part is this thing is going to be fully furnished, and it has to be to scale to suit these guys here. Meet Jack and Jill. Say hi, guys. Hello. And the first thing I'm going to do is start cutting everything to size. With everything cut, now I'm going to pick out the panels that have windows and doors in them and cut them out too. And for that, I'll be using the circular saw, but also the jigsaw. I don't think I'll fit through there. Just let it go. With everything prepared, now we're ready to put this house together, doll's house. And for that, I'm just using these bullet head nails. They're 40mm long and some PVA glue. I'm going to start with the right-hand side and the base, and then I'll be adding the back on. Next up, I'm going to get the nib wall in downstairs and the other end wall, and then I can put the first floor on and get the upper story walls up too. This house is flying along. Let's check it out. Oh, look at this. Our dollhouse is really coming together. But to really complete that mid-century look that we're after, it is this roof line that I'm going to be adding. So I've just got a 45-degree angle that I cut on this piece here. And when I line these two pieces up, that creates the angle that I had to cut on the top of these walls. Once I'm happy with where it sits, I'll simply glue and nail it in place. And our mid-century mansion is complete. Doesn't it look fantastic? Now I'm just going over the whole lot, giving it a quick sand, getting rid of any marks and just rounding off the edges a little bit, and then I'll go over the whole lot with a clear coat. And And that's the house shell done, but every house needs fixtures, fittings and furniture. I'm going to start off with the kitchen area. It's going to have L-shaped cabinets in the corner here with a fridge. Then I'll be doing a dining table and some bench seats. And to put everything together, I'm just using some quick set glue. And now for the fridge, it's exactly the same process. I'm just going to be gluing all these pieces together. When you are using glue to put two pieces together, you just want to do a rub joint. So I'm rubbing it, getting all the air out of that joint, and it helps bond those two together a lot quicker, which stops them from sliding around. It looks like Jack and Jill have just made themselves home at their new dining room table. I reckon they'll be even happier by the time they see their kitchen finished. And for that, I've got these pieces here and I'm just using some tape to hold these 45 cuts together. So I'll stick them down where the long points touch each other, put the glue on, and then simply fold it over and allow it to dry. And a cool little trick to make it look like kitchen cupboards, I've just marked out some lines and just using the handsaw, just cut little grooves in. How nifty is that? And with the bedroom furniture, which I've glued together, that is the main part of the build done. But looking at this, I'll tell you what, it is screaming out for some styling. And coming up, that's exactly what Juliet is going to be doing. With some clever furniture, which I've already cut for her, and some amazing styling. Now, I'm talking rugs, lights, splashbacks, you name it. Jack and Jill, they're not going to know what to do with themselves.
I'm starting with the kitchen, and of course, every kitchen needs a floor. So from a lino tile, I've just cut this to size. It already had the adhesive backing, which was handy. And this is just a slim piece of MDF that I've painted white, and that's going to be the back wall. Only real renovations were this easy. The furniture's all done, but to give it a more realistic look, I'm going to use a white wax on the cabinetry. This beautiful teal paint on the bench top. On the table, I'm giving it a clear coat, and then the fridge is going to be silver. And for the splashback, I'm using these very handy self-adhesive 3D tiles that you can pick up in sheets like this from the hardware store, and I've just cut it down to size. In the lounge room, I've used an offcut of carpet for the flooring, and for the wall, I've covered the MDF with some fabric, which is a great tip because it makes it look like wallpaper. And then, of course, it needs some furniture. So Adam has kindly cut me some pieces of timber for the chairs and coffee table, and I'm just going to glue them together. I've left the back off the chair so that I can add this lovely green upholstery, and all I've used for that is a small piece of foam. Then I folded some fabric in half, wrapped it round, and I'm just going to use the hot glue gun to hold it in place. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other furniture. For the TV unit, I've done open shelving, and this cute little black sticker is the television. In the bedroom, I've chosen carpet again for the flooring, and on the wall, I absolutely love this. It is adhesive wallpaper that looks like VJ paneling, and such a pretty colour. For the beds, Adam has made these gorgeous single beds, so you can leave them like that, or because these magnets are here, you can also have them as bunk beds. So cute. For me, I am going to have them as a double bed right in the centre there, and then I'm going to place this gorgeous quilt over the top. And the quilt you can just make from some wadding and fabric. Even these cute little cushions. I even have a wardrobe and I'm using some thin acrylic mirror that I've cut to size for each side. For the bathroom wall, I just used some craft paper that looks just like stone. And for the vanity, how gorgeous is this? I found in the $2 store these little wooden bowls that are perfect basins, and I've glued them on. And then for the toilet, you're gonna love this. This is a takeaway container that had some soy sauce in it. You gotta get creative with these dolls' houses. So that is our toilet, and it even has a lid. That's going in the corner. Then for the bath, again, we've been creative. This is the base out of a container from the laundry, and it is the perfect shape to pop in the corner there for a porcelain bath. And I even have a towel. This is a microfiber cloth, and that's going to go over the edge of the bath. And again, in the $2 store, I found these blind spot mirrors that I thought would be ideal to sit above the vanity. And now it's time to add in those final decorative accessories, and here's where you can have a whole lot of fun. Think about things in your house that you might be able to use. For the artworks, I am using some old gift cards that I've cut up, put on some dowel. It's going to be so sweet. And also in the bedroom, I have this sweet little pendant light. I've used some coloured string, some mini paddle pop sticks, and a battery-operated tea light. So cute. And then for the blinds, this is just some sushi mat, which you can buy from the supermarket. So gorgeous. And finally, you can also add some lighting in. So I'm going to pop these under here, and they're operated by a remote. This house is crying out for some rugs to warm it up. I have a great way that you can make your own super sweet rugs just like this with a DIY loom. It looks a little tricky, but I promise you it's very simple and very fast. All you need is some cardboard or a paper tray just like this. You'll need a couple of large paddle pop sticks and then some twine, and you just make little incisions in the top of your tray and then thread your twine through. Once you've done that and you've got your loom, you take some macrame twine and you start to thread that up and over on your loom. So after you've done your first line, that end piece of the twine becomes the tail. You leave that there and you find the other end, and you want to take that and thread that through to become the second line. Then you want to take the whole length of the string through. And when you get to the end, make sure that you don't pull it too tight because that can distort it. Take a comb and you just want to push that up so that the second line meets the first one. So once your rug is at the size that you'd like it to be, you leave the tail again at the end, flip it over, and you want to cut through these pieces of string here. So once you've done that, you want to take it off the loom and then tie the end pieces in pairs, trim them off, and it's done. And now for the most important part. Let's see what the kids think.
Yeah. Because there is sleep up there.
Hey guys, what do you think? Having fun?
Yeah.
Yeah! Adam and I had so much fun making this, and it makes such a lovely gift. Yes, you can buy a doll's house in the store, but this is so much more special because it's handmade and you can pass it down for generations. And just like a regular house, you can renovate it and restyle it for years to come. Can I play with you guys? Hey, Poppy, what are you playing? Look, what's she doing? Did you see the swing here?
treacherous sea and spirits. If I scream, do you think you'd hear it? Hours head to overlong.
The best thing about spring is these long, lazy days. Although, I've got to say, I would love to borrow this little boat and drift off into eternity. But if you've got to be a landlubber, well, you might want to think about your next picnic, because that is equally fun. Now, picnics are not like barbecues. You've got to have a little less complication. You want to have more time to spend with your friends. So I've got a couple of really fantastic ideas to share with you. And best of all, they're really easy. And you can get them prepped ahead of time.
All the colours of the rainbow and every shade in between.
Now, I know I said you can prep it all ahead of time, but it's me. I do love a campfire. I'm one of those guys who, no matter what the function, I always hit the sandwich bar. CWA ladies, I want another invite. So good. But I thought you and me, we might reinvent the classic chicken sandwich. It's a pretty special recipe that I call sticky fingers. Chicken thigh fillets, you poach them for about 6-8 minutes, no more than that. And while they're still warm, you want to shred them. Shredding the chicken might seem like a bit of a chore, but it's actually really important. What you're doing is you're increasing the surface area. As such, the sauce, which binds it all together, just gets in there a little bit more. So a sauce, pretty easy, it's just some mayonnaise, some garlic, which of course turns it into an aioli, and then some horseradish. For a little bit of green and also for some extra flavour, I'm going to finally slice some green shallots and fold them in as well. As to whether or not you need to season it, it does depend a little bit on the mayonnaise you're using. This one's pretty mild, so a little bit of salt. But I'm not going to use black pepper because I reckon you get enough spiciness from the horseradish and the green shallots. That is a truly sensational sandwich filling. Now, like I said, you need to leave it a little bit because the sauce has to soak into the chicken. But what's going to make these special is just how presentable they are. I've got some extra green shallots here. Just pull off individual sections and then with a sharp knife, split them down the middle. We're going to quickly blanch these in the hot water just to make them a bit flexible. What are they for? Well, you'll see in a minute.
I can't stop it now. I forget what it's about.
Given the number of kookaburras who are around at the moment, and yes, you'll see them any minute now, we're just going to use this plate to cover up the chook. The next thing we need to do is to make a little bit of something to spread on our bread. Butter, of course, but listen, I'm an absolute sucker for a little bit of pickle. So, a couple of spoons and mash it together. Regular white sliced bread, it is all you need, but you want to make sure that you give it a decent amount of your pickle. One side, two sides, kind of up to you.
Is anything is worth it just to call you mine? Or you can let me down, but I hope you know.
All right, now we've got the pickle butter on there. We'll pop some chicken on top and then another slice of bread. I'm just going to cut these into 3 strips each. Fingers. And this is where things get interesting. We're going to make a glaze. You just start with 1/4 cup of oyster sauce, the same amount of sweet soy sauce, then 100 grams of honey, and the juice of a couple of limes. It is important to cook this just for a minute. It's got to thicken up and become sticky. Then we will fry our fingers and glaze them up. They're golden and crunchy, which is exactly what we wanted. So you just give these a little bit of your sauce, your sticky sauce.
I know I'm not your type, but maybe you can make an exception. Don't wanna be friends, don't wanna waste time, so baby, will you be mine?
Dip them into sesame seeds.
You have me checking my DMs, waiting for you to reply.
Now, remember earlier on, we made those little green shallot strings? Well, this is what they're for. They hold it together so it doesn't fall apart while you're eating. It's kind of like, I don't know, putting a bow on top. It's those classic ingredients that everybody loves: honey soy, chicken, sandwich. But if you bring them together in a clever way, you end up with something that's new, delicious, really easy, perfect for a picnic.
Across so much of the country, we are faced with the issue of shallow soils, and that's a problem when you want nice things like a garden bed. It can be from bedrock, it could be from established trees taking up space, even clay deposits and pipes. All of them obstacles in their own right.
Come, brother, sister, I'll lead you home. I stretch out my hand.
But I've got a few solutions to this very problem in this small inner city garden.
Anytime you're ready. That's what you need to know. All dressed up, show up in style, like you've been ready all your life.
I'm just taking the front fence out so we've got better access, then I can get onto the clearing.
Gonna have one hell of a party. One hell of a night. Gonna get the best of everything you do right. Gonna have one hell of a party. Oh yeah, step over the line. You know that we're going in and it could be getting crazy. Gonna have to stay the night.
With the garden cleared, it's time to do a bit of investigation work, and that just means digging some holes to see how deep the soil is. When you're doing this, you want to watch out for any pipes. We've got some water over there. We'll probably have some foundations just under here as well. As well as working out where the shallow spots are, we also need to work out where the deep spots are so we know where we can get some plants in the ground. So up the far end, we've only got about 150 mils worth of soil. As it gets closer to the path, it might drop to about 300 mil. On this side of the path, though, because of this palm, there's just a mat of roots, and it's left the soil dry and impoverished. So I need to improve the soil all over, but I'm going to build it up as well. To improve the soil in our garden bed, I'm using compost. Now, this is going to help the soil hold on to moisture and nutrients, but most importantly, it's going to improve the whole structure. Now, where I can, I'm going to dig it through because it's not ideal to plant directly into compost, but where there's too many roots, I'll just leave it as a surface mulch and it will still do the good work.
There you lay right in front of me, the best damn woman that I've ever seen.
To build our garden beds up, I'm just using some treated pine edging. Now, it's 150 by 25, and I'm going to create a hexagon shape just to add a bit of interest. Now, to do that, you need to cut your timbers to an angle of 60 degrees. It's a little bit complicated. A saw will cut at 90 degrees, so if you set it to 30 degrees, you're taking that off, leaving you with 60 degrees. Now, the overall size is going to be about 500 mil, so you need to cut your bits to about 300 mil. Now, it's really important once you've cut your timber to flip it over before you measure it, and that's because you want your angles to fit together nicely. Next, I'm going to glue and screw these together with the help of a ratchet strap.
The cold light is fading now, letting go 'cause it's too late and too far gone. And if I was told, where were all the warning signs? Now I know you would never.
The final stage of securing this all together is just to use these gang nail plates. These are going to give us maximum longevity. They're really simple to install, and then we can get on to giving it a lick of paint. placing our hexagons in the front garden in the point where we've hardly got any soil because of the roots. And I'm just putting a few together to create a larger body of soil, and then I'll put one on top to give us some deep planting area as well. Of course, there's times where you just don't have any soil, things like apartments and front of a house like this. So you're going to have to use pots. And if you're using pots, you need the best potting mix you can afford, and that's why I recommend Rich Grow Black Marble. Now, this is high in potash, so if you're growing flowers, it's perfect for those. We've got a shady spot here, so we're going for foliage-based plants. It's high in iron, which makes those leaves super green. It's also got plenty of fertilizer and a soil wetter in there, so once it's in, you really don't have to think about it for 6 months. When you're using pots, it's always a good idea to put them up on feet just to make sure the drainage is perfect. Watering your new garden might not be as simple as you think. Just because you've got a shallow soil profile doesn't mean the water's going to get away and drain. So keep a close eye on your plants and see how they're reacting to your watering, and just adjust it accordingly. And if you follow these tips, well, it doesn't matter how deep the soil is, you should be able to have a cracking garden just like this one.
The stunning Blue Mountains is well known for its incredible landscapes and truly beautiful scenery. And right in the heart of that natural beauty is a hidden gem. Welcome to the Braes. It showcases a European-style cool climate garden. It's a heritage site, 6 acres in area, and it virtually has everything going for it. Beautiful creek flowing right through the middle of it. It has ponds, it's got fountains and statuary. It even has its own Monet bridge. And now that it's spring, there is colour just exploding everywhere. In fact, it's a magnificent sight. The word Braes is actually a Scottish word meaning slope or hill. In fact, the whole garden itself is 2 hillsides with a stream running through the centre. Now, to facilitate easy access to walk through and create the garden, they've terraced either side of the hillside. But when you look through the garden, past the flowering cherries, the azaleas, the magnificent stone walls, some of the statuary, you can see that this is truly a classic landscape. The garden was originally designed and landscaped by none other than Danish-born horticulturist Paul Sorensen. In fact, when he came to Australia, he became very famous as a landscape designer. But in my books, he was really Australia's master gardener. And he brought a lot of those skills and adapted them to cool climate gardens, especially here in Leura. And here at Braes, he really put all of his energies into creating these long vistas. In fact, the Braes is one of those few gardens that has Paul Sorensen trademark features still visible today. One of those signature Sorensen features was his stone walling. It was collected locally and split or carefully broken into shape. Now, most of these are modern, faithful reproductions, but this one is a Sorensen original.
The flowers slip through my fingers. I'm praying for the rain.
When it comes to selecting trees that withstand temperate and really cold conditions, with flowering trees that lose their leaves in autumn and then come back into a terrific flowering for spring, most people go for the flowering cherry. But don't forget the fantastic crab apples. This one is an absolute cracker. It's Malus Tom Matthews, and it really is one of the best of the crab apples. This garden is full of them. Tom Matthews, it's a great crab apple. Now, you might be wondering what's actually happened here. This is the juvenile form of the Japanese cedar, Cryptomeria, and it tends to have a lot of dead leaves and branches right down to the ground. It can look very ugly, but they've come in with the arborist and they've removed all the lower branches. This is called crown lifting, where you remove all those lower branches up to about 4 or 5 metres. And then suddenly, wow, you can see more of the garden. It's opened up the garden and you've got these irregular vistas all the way through. Think about doing that at home. It's a great idea. Another great tip from a special garden.
You got my heart, it's beating. You're on my mind, repeating. You're everything I wanted, and so much more.
I love this area. It's a secret section in a hidden garden here at Braes. You know, Australians have had a love-hate relationship with conifers. I love them, but you know, it's all about selection. Now, in the last 20 or 30 years, we've realised if you want a nice tall specimen, a sort of a statement in your garden, the golden pencil pines are great, but you've got to be careful of just which one you select. Now, up the back here, they've got a fantastic collection of cypress. Golden cypress, the coney bear, look at them, they're just wonderful. But you need a big garden to grow some of these. And then some of the smaller ones, some of the ground cover ones, some of these little squamata ones, they're just beautiful specimens in the garden. This collection here is really fantastic.